Do you guys have a show in your country that is absolutely shit and popular? Do they have a really shit budget? Look no more than Married at First Sight. It is a worldwide show, but we are closing in on the Australian version. This is different from my other content because Married at First Sight promotes domestic abuse. Quite a bold statement, but now I'm pretty confident that's what they've done. Meet Enos and Bronson. Sorry. Enos and Bronson. But it was during Enos's and Bronson's time together that really showed the disgusting behaviour the experts on the show promote. Enos is full on screaming at Bronson, telling him to shut the fuck up. She comments on his appearance. She calls him names. She is on a mission to tear him down emotionally. You would think the relationship experts, I put that in quotation marks because I beg to fucking differ that they are, but you would think that they would comment on the situation. Maybe throw the word abused in there. No, instead what they hated was Bronson calling her a cunt. He called her a name, and a fucking true name if anything. But now he is a victim of ridicule. The New Idea published an article bad-mouthing Bronson for calling her a cunt, stating it crosses a line that absolutely should not be crossed. Holly Richards. Hey Holly.
Shut your fucking mouth! Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
She crossed that line when she became a martyr for abusers. Frankly, she is a cunt. This is flat out sexism in the media. Don't sugarcoat it. It's not a donut. Don't shove a little bit of sugar on the fucking top of it. It's sexism. How dare you not even think about how Bronson felt during his time with Enos? From the get-go, at the photos, Bronson was told, "Don't touch me, get away from me." And, get this, Enos and her friends were racist to Bronson's mates. Bronson's family just said to him, "Get on the bus with us, mate," to ditch Enos. Oh, she's not a cunt yet? Let's watch this clip of her screaming at Bronson.
If anyone has a knife so I can cut the rope, watch Bronson sail away into the sky. Shut the up!
Horrible person.
Get me off the boat! Get me off the boat! Yeah, I don't give a get me off the boat! Shut the up! When I say don't speak, shut the up! I'm stressed! Shut the up!
She's a fucking cunt. Don't you try and lecture me, Jolene Dawson. She made a video replying to the controversy and defended both Mel Schilling and Enos. Guess what? You are sexist. What you saw was, let's call a spade, it was domestic abuse. Bronson was screamed at for trying to bond with Enos. From the get-go, was just hounding him for his inequalities.
How are you going?
Hi, good.
I'm Bronson.
Hi, Bronson. Can we get rid of your eyebrow ring, please?
When you use language like that in relation to a woman, how do you expect her to respond to you?
Yeah, I don't give a get me off the boat. Shut the up!
Okay, cool.
Like what Bronson says to me, like I really don't care.
So I prefer to stay and experiment just to double check, because if I leave now and find out, maybe
It is domestic abuse. Enos is tearing Bronson down emotionally. How the dude is able to keep his cool is the real inequality. Because how the fuck do I get patience like that? Australia has a huge problem with domestic violence and male suicide as we speak. This is why I'm outraged about this TV show. Because of the sheer incompetence to even recognise that Bronson was being torn down emotionally. I'm just happy that he's a hard bloke and he doesn't let it get to him.
Yeah, but
Well,
this is not good, so why, like, are you so happy?
Oh no, I'm miserable. Absolutely miserable.
But what if it wasn't Bronson? What if it was another bloke? A more softer bloke, a roses and romantic meal under the stars type of guy. Do you think he would have been able to cop that abuse? No. Because talking about his emotions would have landed him in a world of ridicule just like it has with Bronson. Jolene Dawson here is pretty convinced that Australia just hates women. She thinks that Mel Schilling was standing up to Bronson, explaining his inequalities. When, no, Mel Schilling saw domestic abuse unfold in front of her, and she said, "Looks fine to me." This is why Australia had a little uproar and wants Mel Schilling kicked off the show. If it were up to me, all three of them should fuck off. Now, I'm not a relationship expert, never claimed to be either, but I lived in a town full of minors who used to beat and abuse their other halves. We would all go to school and talk about our nights. My problems were not bad, so I couldn't relate to my friends whose parents were just fucking bashing each other. But some kids would run away and sleep at a friend's house to hide from the abuse. Others would try and sleep but explain, "Dad was beating Mum again," or "Mum was screaming at Dad again." And the town brushed it off like it was nothing. Normalising this fucking problem. We could only talk amongst ourselves. If we ever brought this up in front of our parents, we were pussies. being little bitches. And how do you think that makes you feel? You were 12 years old and alone in the world. Meanwhile, the abused would hide their feelings and gain no support from anyone. Us kids was all we had. When I moved away from that town, I saw a decline in friends living there, which was great, but I saw a lot falling off the rails, even after they moved. The needle marks, the doc calls, the continuous cycle of abuse on themselves and others. It's just heartbreaking to see. And guess what, Australia? You fucking promote that lifestyle. You plastered it on the television and laughed, oohed and ahed, while I had 2 friends kill themselves. Australia let little comments out like, ooh, that was harsh, at Bronson for calling Enos a cunt, while the person I went to school with is bloodied and bruised by his girlfriend. When a country's most popular TV show promotes domestic violence and Australians defend it, you know your country's gone down the fucking toilet.
Every 2 days in Australia, a construction worker kills himself. Suicide is a leading cause of death in Australians aged between 25 and 44, and it affects 3 times more men than women.
100 days of male suicide in Australia looks like. There's about 600 crosses here. They all have names. For each man that commits suicide, they've got mothers, fathers, children, partners. 6 men a day in Australia commit suicide, and 36 other people are profoundly affected for the rest of their lives.